Stop using AliExpress. In 2023, if you plan on pursuing a dropshipping business or an e-commerce dropshipping business, you really need to slow down and think about who you're going to use for your fulfillment. Every guru and expert out there is still preaching about AliExpress as a fulfillment and order platform, at least the supplier for your goods, who you're going to be dropshipping from. And honestly, if they're telling you to use that, they're not somebody you should be listening to in the first place. In this video, I'm going to break down every single reason why you shouldn't be using AliExpress. And if you are remotely thinking about dropshipping at any point in the future, listen to this video because I'm going to give you valuable knowledge, not only about what the reasons are not to use AliExpress for, but some of the things that you need to do to vet the whole process about dropshipping and what you need to learn and the frameworks around how dropshipping works and how to actually be successful. I'm also going to debunk a lot of creators here that you were following for information, and I'm going to kind of walk you through why some of the things they're saying aren't trustworthy and why you need to start taking a step back from listening to them. Before we get started, guys, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. There's going to be tons of information about dropshipping, e-commerce, businesses, making money, everything entrepreneurship on this channel. But let's get straight into it. I'm going to outline everything you need to know about why you shouldn't use AliExpress. We're not going to talk about all these specific platforms that are better alternatives because I think there are truly a lot of options, and it really depends on the products you're selling because each of those options are still small enough because they're dwarfed by the size of AliExpress. They're still small enough that it's really product niche dependent. I'll make some videos specifically about those options in the future. There are plenty of options out there if you look up AliExpress alternatives. But you might ask yourself, why should I not use AliExpress? Now, what is AliExpress? It is the largest dropshipping conglomerate, single order, not Alibaba out there. They're two of the same company essentially, but AliExpress is for ordering single items or dropshipping single items because that's what it's kind of morphed into, while Alibaba is more straight to the manufacturer or to manufacturers that only deal in bulk and doing bulk ordering. And for all the businesses that I've ever run and currently order, I'm currently using Alibaba because I buy my stuff in bulk, or I use smaller niche suppliers to dropship through, and I don't use AliExpress. You might ask yourself though, why does AliExpress exist and why is it the largest fulfiller and dropshipping tool in the world? And it's because the people that are successfully using it and keeping the platform alive are so much larger than you. Those companies and those individuals using it are working directly through the manufacturer, and they're using AliExpress actually just as the payment portal and tracking and bookkeeper essentially of the transactions, so that it's all legitimate between the US and whatever country you're shipping to, most likely China in this case. But it's really through that. And if you disagree, I can tell you one from experience doing it myself. That's how I use Alibaba. I'm doing everything offline, and then I'm putting orders through and doing all my bookkeeping through Alibaba because there's payment protection. They do all the custom stuff. But I've worked and consulted with some of the largest dropshippers in the industry, and they are doing that with AliExpress. So that's why it exists. That's the majority of the business that they're doing. But let's get into it because I've been telling you all these high-level things. So first and foremost, the largest problem with AliExpress beyond anything else is shipping times. You might think it's quality. Don't worry, we're going to talk about quality, but it's actually shipping times. So AliExpress is beautiful. There are tons of plugins with Shopify stores. You can get a dropshipping site set up pretty quickly, integrate AliExpress, and all of a sudden when a customer orders something, it's going to get fulfilled by AliExpress fairly easily and quickly. But the biggest problem is for most products on AliExpress, I'm going to speak about 99.9% of them, shipping time right now as we sit, almost going into 2023, this is December of 2022, your average shipping time is 6.5 weeks from order to customer door in the lower 48 of the US. And I bet you about half of you guys are cringing by that number, and the other half that aren't cringing, imagine if you ordered something on Amazon and it took a month and a half to get to you. Wouldn't we have a problem there, especially if the item's like $20 or $30? You'd be going crazy, and most people would opt to pay a couple extra dollars for something more expensive if they could have it overnight, which is what's happening with Amazon Prime right now. So what does that mean for you as a business owner and as a drop shipper? What ends up happening is the customer places the order, they pay you, you pay the manufacturer through AliExpress, and they ship the product. The product then takes 6 weeks. But if your customer decides that the wait has been too long and asks for a refund, even if you say no, they can charge back the order. And then what ends up happening is the product is already in transit. So you can't get your money back. You can't stop the delivery. You've already paid for it. So you have to then refund or fight the chargeback, which you're always going to lose as a larger business. You're going to lose the money and you're going to lose the cost of the product, if that makes sense. Which isn't just your profit, it is all your money. So you're going to go negative. And this isn't going to happen to you once or twice. With larger e-commerce stores and people that are starting, I am seeing up to 10 to 15% chargebacks on stores that are averaging 5 to 6 week delivery time. And it's all of those reasons around shipping. The other big cost to you with shipping issues is your time talking with your customers. Those customers are going to be emailing you, calling you every couple days in that latter 4, 5, 6 weeks out from where their product's going to be, because they're like, where is my product? So your time gets exponentially larger. If you don't pick up the phone and answer those people, guess what's going to happen? Refund request, chargeback. So there is a legitimate cost to using AliExpress, and that's your hard-earned dollars. The second thing on the list, and one of the other very large reasons not to use Shopify, is quality control. If you're not paying for an agent to do the quality control for you, which doesn't make sense in the model that you are doing single order dropshipping, you are betting your money, because again, if something goes wrong, you lose the money. You have to refund the customer, and then you have to fight your manufacturer for that money back, which I can tell you is very hard to do, and more often than not, you will not get that money back. You are trusting another person far, far away who sees a product for a lot less money, because you're honestly buying it for less money, doing quality control, and they're doing millions of products a month. And if they make one mistake, you lose all the money. Things happen at a pretty high rate. I can tell you, even ordering through Alibaba, when I order bulk orders, I'm getting between 5 and 15% quality issues. Now, my business is in the automotive industry, so little blemishes and stuff like that, I can't send those things to a customer. 5 and 15% of what I've been experiencing over many manufacturers, over many years of working in the business. Quality control is a big problem, and you will lose money. And number 3 on our list, and this is the last one, and again, this is going to be something that's impacting your wallet, is scams on AliExpress. Now, AliExpress is probably only about 20 or 30% manufacturers willing to do individual item shipping for dropshippers. The rest of it is going to be these middlemen companies that operate in China. You'll even deal with those kinds of companies working with Alibaba, but basically what they do is they're like warehouses. They work with hundreds or if not thousands of manufacturers. They house all their products, and then they either sell on Alibaba or AliExpress or both, and they provide basically that service to the manufacturer. They take some money on the top end. But the problem with that game is it's all about skimming money, and what you'll actually find fairly a lot is companies that are taking advantage of individuals that are using AliExpress, and they just know that they can burn their AliExpress account and start a new one. What does that look like? Some companies say that they're fulfilling orders and products never go out. You lose the money. Some companies take your money and then disappear. Usually that's not as large of an impact, but what I've seen happen fairly commonly, and fairly commonly we're talking about, like less than 5%, but greater than 1%. It happens enough that people lose their businesses, they go bankrupt, they get sued, especially around holidays or times where they just do an ad campaign where they get a bunch of orders. I've had colleagues and friends have days where they do 1,000 orders because something goes really well with their ad spend or something like that, and they fulfill all 1,000 orders just to find out 6 weeks later that the company never actually sent out any of the orders. They took all of the money from my colleagues and friends, and then the company just disappeared off AliExpress. They got striked by somebody else, they lost it, that person started a new company in China, they're back on AliExpress with a new account, and the cycle goes on. So unfortunately, those 3 things can happen to you if you're using AliExpress. So my recommendation is to fight with all of that and get across all of that. You need to work with niche companies that act as product suppliers and house actually products in the US or in Canada or Mexico, so you get shorter shipping times. There's another set of eyes on it, and they're selling you more quality products because they're saying we're taking them in and reviewing them. They're a little bit more accountable too because they're a little bit more niche and smaller of a company. Now again, you're going to pay a little bit more money per product if you're using one of these companies because it's another middleman, so they need to make money, you need to make money. So your product cost is going to be a little bit higher. But what I've actually found is with that higher product cost, you lower the rate significantly of chargebacks, refunds, and all those things because of shipping quality and everything else, it ends up being cheaper in the long run because your products are a little bit more expensive, but you're not losing entire order values. So in the short, and I'll make a bunch of videos looking at specific different companies that do this extra middleman steps in the US, Canada, and Mexico, shorter shipping times, a little bit better quality, but I'm making the separate videos because they're so product niche dependent. The short answer is don't use AliExpress. So if you're thinking about starting an e-commerce dropshipping company, specifically with Shopify, because that's the easiest way to do it, think again before you follow a guru telling you to use AliExpress, because that guru who's telling you to use AliExpress, first off, the biggest red flag is they haven't done what they're telling you that they've done if they're using AliExpress, because you can't scale a store to millions and millions of dollars while you have 7-week shipping times on products under $40. It just isn't real unless you're spending a massive amount of ad revenue and you're constantly switching products, which isn't profitable. So some of these people do it, but they run on a zero profit margin, and the game that they're playing is education and YouTube and all of those things. I don't have very many subscribers on here. I'm not making money, so you can tell that the content is wholesome. I've also done it. If you watch some of the other videos, you can tell that I've done the stuff. I talk about my business. I talk about what I've done in my career. But the short answer is understand who will be fulfilling your orders and where those products are coming from, and think about the 3 things that we talked about in this video. Otherwise, good luck with your business. Hopefully you start something profitable in 2023. Good luck.